times she fussed about me being long-winded. And, you know, two things that get long-winded is lawyers and preachers.
But I talked to her last, so that's you're welcome. Have a few notes and we'll step back a little bit. Good morning. I'm Stacy Odneal. I am a longtime member of this church, a longtime member of this community. I'm the biological child of Tony and Connie Odneal. They're great folks, good parents. I'm the adopted child of my father, God. That adoption happened when I was 8. That's going to be important to what I'm about to tell you, moving on down in a few minutes. Like I said, I talk real fast. Angie's going to wave. If I get to talking too fast, I need to repeat myself. I'll try and repeat myself anyway. So we can get through this quickly, and I can give you the information I have. I'm a lawyer, as Brother Sammy said. I have a purpose-based practice, meaning Jesus and I had to come to Jesus about what I needed to be doing in my job, and that job needs to be protecting children and families in Tennessee. So I represent kids mostly who have been the victim of abuse or trauma. I also represent parents from time to time. I do adoptions. I deal with custody issues, all those sorts of fun things that nobody signs up to go to law school to do. I do them all, and I do them in Lawrenceburg, in Columbia, in Waynesboro, in Giles County. So I enjoy that part of my job. Grew up here on Daddy's farm, moved to college, moved back from college, went back to another college, came back, went to law school, came back. I've only been an adult for about 10 years now. And to varying degrees of success, I'll be honest with you. So about 10 years ago, I met a lovely gentleman by the name of Brian Schultz. He had 2 awesome kids, Mac and Hannah, who are here with me today. Thank you so much. And he figured that maybe his family time, that we had Mac and Hannah, and that was all he wanted. I grew up watching my daddy pull calves, and I knew I didn't need kids. I was married. So we got along pretty happy with the way that was with our family, Mac and Hannah. But after a year or two, we agreed that maybe we're laid-back people, we're fun. We enjoy meeting new people, and we felt like it was time for us to co-parent together in some way. And so we began exploring adoption and other things. One thing you probably also know about the Odneals is we're incredibly cheap. And so the idea of going to some foreign location and adopting a child was beyond what I wanted to do. But being in the industry of child welfare, I knew that there were children in our community in the 4 surrounding counties that need love. And we are great at loving you no matter what you look like. So we signed up to do foster classes in August of 2012. We took 6 to 8 weeks worth of classes. They came to our home. They made sure that we didn't make meth in the backyard. All the things you look for in ideal houses for children. And they approved us in August. So we sat down next to the phone every night, turned it on. I put my ringer on. For those of you who have worked with me professionally, you know I don't do that. If you need me after hours, you need to call the sheriff's department or an ambulance service or a bail bondsman. I can't help you until 8 tomorrow. So we're sitting there by the phone, and okay, this is it. Every time the phone rings, it's our baby. Nobody called. We called people with strollers and cribs and all that sort of stuff. Waiting for you. You can be on call. We're fixing to get that kid. I just know it. August came, no phone call. September came, no phone call. October, November, December came. Finally, we get a phone call. We're on a family vacation to Atlanta, Georgia. It was the kid's Christmas present. We're driving by the rocket ship there in Athens, Alabama, and I get a phone call from a strange number. Stacy Odneal, can I help you? We have a 2.5-year-old child that needs a home. Would y'all be willing for us to bring her to your house? I don't know. I'm probably going to need to talk to some folks about this. But when they're all in the car, let me ask. So I hung up the phone. I said, they've got a child, a 2.5-year-old child that needs a home, and are we willing to be that home for these kids? You could feel the air suck out of that car. I think Hannah may have actually tried to get on the rocket ship. I don't know. Like, this is a human. They're going to drop a human off at our house. They're going to bring it to our house. There's not a period of time where you wait for it and go, oh, we're so happy. In 45 minutes, this child will be at our door. Is this what we're doing? Are we doing this? And while everybody in the car was kind of just like, ugh, I don't know, I began to verbalize the doubts I had. I specifically identified 3 things that I talked to Jesus about. First of all, am I in a position to heal somebody? I grew up on the farm, and despite what I may have told you when I was a child, my parents were not abusive towards me. They expected a lot, but I haven't been traumatized in some way. So I don't know what this kid's been through. Can I be there for another person in this way? Still, small boys came to me and said, you may not have been beaten or locked in a closet or know what it feels like to starve, but you know what it feels like to be broken. You know exactly what it feels like to have an unconditional love come to you and heal you. You know, because you've been through that when I adopted you, when you were 8. You can do that. So, but what if I have to let this child go? What if she comes to our house, and what if we fall in love with her, and what if she gets removed because she's gone back to another family member or another placement, or this case is over? What if we love her and we have to let her go? The still small voice came to me and said, I know a lot about letting go of somebody you really care about. I know a lot about losing a child. I know a lot about what it looks like to have to say goodbye to somebody you are in love with more than what you can realize. But just like when it happened when I set my son on the cross, it's going to be for a greater purpose. And if we get to that point for you, I'll be there for you like I'm there for you now. And it'll be for a greater purpose. Fair enough. It's hard to argue with that. Finally, I was sitting there going, am I enough? Am I enough to be everything that my husband's going to need, and my stepkids are going to need, and this child's going to need? Am I enough? And God said, well, no, you're not. You know, that's the thing. You're not enough. But where your weakness comes into play, my strength takes over. In your weakness, I'm made strong. And I'm more than enough for you and your spouse and your stepkids and your child. I'll be there. I'm giving you the opportunity because in Jeremiah 29:11, I told you, I know the plans I have for you. Plans for peace, not evil. Plans to prosper you and plans for hope. And I'm giving you a chance today to be a part of hope. Do you want to do that? I mean, it's up to you. It was a choice. Nobody shoved it down our throats. But do we want to be a part of hope? And we said yes. As you may know, she did not leave, although she asked to about 3 times a week. She would like to be with her CC and coffee regularly. And if you know her well enough, you know that she is my child. Except for the curly hair and her unending energy, we are pretty much identical. So we had her in our home, we fostered for 18 months, we left our home open for a little while, it wasn't working out, we thought, okay, you know, well, this part of the space is over, it's great, on to the next project. About a month ago, my friend Ashley called, and she had 2 children in her home who were going through a similar traumatic experience, and she was really worried about them, and we were trying to figure out what we needed to do for these kids. So I said, hey, I tell you what, I'll come over, and we'll talk about it, and we'll make a plan for these children. So I went over to her house. She has 2 twins who are 5, a fixing to be 2-year-old daughter, and then these 2 children who are 1 and 2. And they were all in the house together with the door closed, and they were running amok. They were jumping from things. There were bottles everywhere, and poopy diapers everywhere, and screaming everywhere, and toys. And I was like, I have to go now. And they would call me, and we will develop a plan on the phone. I'm moving across town to my quiet house where my child, I'm sure, nestled in her father's lap, calmly reading a book, waiting to go to bed. And I was going to get out of that madness. And I got in the car and said, Jesus, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be my purpose. Thank you for the opportunity to see children like this. I just can't wait to see the perfect home you have for those kids somewhere else outside of Lawrence County. He said, funny story. I think I got just the spot. I think it's 412 8th Street. I'm like, oh no, your GPS is off. Sometimes it will do that. It'll just get the one next to it. You must be my neighbor. Make the urban say it's real nice. Wonderful woman. No, we've had this conversation before, and when I was at that point where I was like, are we going to have to go through this? Am I enough? Can I? Should I? Et cetera, et cetera. He reminded me we've been down this path. This is a conversation we've already had. Of course, you're not enough. I'm more than enough. You've been there. You've seen it. You know how it's done. So, I'm asking you again, do you want to be a part of hope? Do you want to be a part of my plan for your life, for these children's life? Are you saying yes and yes? It took several days and lots of conversations and some gnashing of teeth and wailing and whatnot, but we agreed to say yes to yes, and now we have 2 more foster children in our home. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what tomorrow looks like for them, but what I know today is that I have a father that loves me unconditionally, and because I've experienced that love, I can share it with 2 people who may not have had that before, who I know haven't had that before. And so being able to be a part of a child's life in that way, in my purpose, is something you can't put an amount on, there's no words for it. Now, Brother Sandy asked me to hit the high point, so I was trying to think of things that would sell you on foster care. I realized that they don't give me a t-shirt for recruiting the most foster parents. There's no contest. This is not Mary Kay. You don't buy in for $100 and then get 12 of your closest friends to buy in, and the next thing you know, we're covered up with children. Foster care is a calling, and if you're called to it, get in it. and smelly belly, I'll take foster care every time. It stinks sometimes, but it's okay. Fresh air will come through. If you think you're called to foster care, the first thing you need to do is make sure you've been adopted by God the Father. You need to know that separate from God, you're dead already. You need to know that when you accept Christ, your heaven starts that minute. It's great that I'm going to die and go to heaven. I'm looking forward to it when that day comes. But the best part is knowing that my heaven starts now. My God is accessible to me anytime I need. That's your first step if you want to get into foster care, because you're going to need God. A lot of God. Your second step is to consider whether or not you want to work with a entity like the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home or some contract providers, or go through DCS. They've got classes that you pay. There's a home study, and then you become eligible to receive children. The deal with foster care is you are an incubator for this family while we try to figure out what that family is going to look like in the future. Federal law requires that we try to put that family back together. Sometimes that doesn't work out for whatever reason. But in the meantime, while there's all this uncertainty and stuff going on, you are an incubator for that family. You show children love who maybe have never seen love at all, ever, but certainly to not to a degree that you're able to offer. You offer the children stability. You support the parents as they try to decide what they're going to do. So it's a challenge, but that's what you do in foster care, and there are people there to support you in that. You don't have to be a foster family to be involved in supporting foster families. Foster families are required to do educational things, and there's no child care for that. Foster families need godly, Christian, safe places to babysit foster children while they go and do things. Make friends with a foster family, buy them dinner one night or breakfast on Saturday. Go to those kids' ball games, become friends to the children who are going to need friends because they don't have a lot. You can help in those ways, and if nothing else, you can pray. Get in agreement with God that children are in a special place in God's heart. And we as Christians are called to support Him in that and get in agreement with God for the people He's put in, the boots He's put on the ground to work in that way. So, that's my foster care speech. There's no t-shirt, like I said. Don't want to mislead you in any way. Our family has grown because of it. And I think it's our purpose, and we enjoy being in that purpose. If we can support you in any way, or you want to learn more about being a part, I'm around. Please feel free. But I encourage you to be adopted by God first, then come talk to me next.